What's up everyone, Amit here, and today we are continuing our discussion with Phillip and Chloe Carroll, the filmmakers behind The Honeymoon Phase, which comes out this Friday, August 21st on VOD. So Phil, this was your first feature film, and I know that you've done shorts before, but can you tell us a little bit about your filmmaking journey from shorts to feature?
So I started making movies when I was 10 years old. Jurassic Park was a huge inspiration for me, as I know it is for so many filmmakers. A family friend of ours bought me a copy of Jurassic Park on VHS for my 10th birthday, and it had a second cassette that was all the behind the scenes of the movie. It was like a 2-hour making of, and I thought it was incredible to see what went into actually making this thing that I loved. I had no idea that there were filmmakers that made this movie. One night I asked my dad if I could use his video camera and tried to recreate some of the scenes in Jurassic Park with my Lego dinosaurs that I had through stop motion animation. And from there, it was pretty much me and my brother and my cousin making these short little videos that we would debut at family parties. And that kind of gave me the bug. Like, I just loved how I could create something and show it to people and have an emotional reaction from it, watch them enjoy it.
Chloe, what got you interested in filmmaking?
I always loved film. I think that it's like such a great escapism from normal life. Like, your day-to-day is pretty, if you work in an office, like you work and then you come home and then you have the weekends, but film just gives you this whole new world that some people can never explore. Like, I used to love The Mummy. I used to love horror movies when I was a kid. That's all I pretty much watched, and still as an adult. And I love all these different like adventures that you can kind of go on through watching a movie as a child, So I love the escapism aspect of all different genres of movie. With horror movies, when you first start watching them, like, you're initially really frightened. And I remember my dad just said to me one time, I can't remember what we was watching, like Predator, I think, and he was like, it's just ketchup, like it's all just, none of it's real, like it's all make-believe. And I just became fascinated from that one sentence that he said to me to be like, oh, I want to know how it's all done then, because it's not, these monsters aren't real. And that also got me into, like, I used to love art as a kid, got me into like trying to watch the behind the scenes for like how the monsters were made. And I dabble in a little bit of SFX sometimes on like some of my like shorts. And I just love how it's all done and it's made, and I love showing people and they're like, oh my God, that's gross. And I'm like, thank you, I'm glad that it read like that, because that's what I was going for.
What was your biggest accomplishment with that on Facebook?
Oh, one of my Facebook images of the gore that I did on someone's neck is like an open neck wound, got censored as graphic. And I was so proud of myself. I was like, it just looks really real, and it got censored, and that was just really great for me. I know I'm just such a weirdo, but.
So can you tell us a little bit about your crew size and if this was the largest crew that you've worked with to date?
So the Honeymoon Phase by far was the largest project on all fronts that either of us had ever been a part of. In terms of the crew, there's about roughly 50 people that were involved in the production of the movie, from pre-production all the way through to post. And then there were countless people that made the film possible through donations, volunteering, offering their location. Really just a huge list of credits that helped us bring the movie to life. As Yoda would say, size matters not. Our crew was small, but you would never know by the... That's what's so funny, taking back to the number, like feature films, like a Hollywood feature film would have hundreds of people in the credits. Like sometimes the credits are like over 10 minutes long. Like you have a whole orchestrated number of music, playing during that. And as an indie filmmaker, you hear 50 people and you're like, holy crap. Like that's a lot of people, because when we're on set making shorts, you'll be lucky if you have 10 people on set. For us, it was just an amazing jump in individual people doing things on set. Like for a short film, we're so used to wearing multiple hats, and doing a feature, we were lucky enough to have artisans who were in individual departments do things. Ended there. I keep getting in like the woods of this question.
Just like keep going down a rabbit hole.
I know. You're like, simple answer, how many people? 50. And I'm like, well, let me tell you about
Just keep creating questions for yourself and then answering them.
Poor Wes isn't getting any screen time.
Just trying to extrapolate everything I can. I hope there's like 30 seconds. It's good for you.
I like how you're just like, end it there.
Yeah, like, he's not gonna use any of this. I don't even know if I'm making sense anymore.
Chloe, can you tell us a little bit about the process of getting into character for the film?
Yeah, I was super lucky because I was involved in such the early drafts of the film. So I got to kind of like really know how Eve was developing as a character, and everything, even stuff that got cut from the film, I knew about, and I put that into the character in the film that we maybe didn't explore in the film. You know, like I had longer to really think about the character and what I wanted to show of her on screen. So most people don't get that. Sometimes you can receive the script 2 weeks before they shoot and you're like, all right, this is the character, let me make them. But I had such a long time to really digest it and think about what I wanted from her as a character.
So this question is for both of you. What was the biggest challenge you faced on set?
Every day I wake up's a challenge. You can use that. So the biggest challenge on set by far, without spoiling anything with the climax of the film, there's a lot of technical acting for our performers. And Chloe's, you know, for her character, it's kind of this apex point where she has to make a choice that's going to define her for the rest of her life. And same thing for Tom. And we had just a tremendous amount of pages to get through. I think it was like 6 pages that day, with technical movements of the camera, the performances from Tom and Eve, and I rewrote the scene the night before. So I literally probably had like 2 hours of sleep going into it, because Jim Shubin, who plays Tom in the film, he came to me and he was like, I felt like, I love the scene, but I feel like it's just missing something. And we sat down after we wrapped that day and we were like, okay, what is this scene missing? And like, it was like a lightning bolt. Like I realized, it's like, oh my God, this is what it's missing, this thing. And Jim, to his credit, he stayed up late with me, you know, talking through the scene, you know, working out, like, what would Tom say here? And from there, I had to go off and, you know, laid in bed and rewrote the script. You know, it was a lot of work. I went to sleep, you know, 2 hours before we had to wake up. Tried to sleep in the car if I could on the way to set, and then had to somehow direct the hardest scene of the movie on like 2 hours sleep with dialogue that was completely rewritten the night before. It's the thing I'm most proud of in the entire film, because we all came together that day and made it work. You know, just being honest, because I loved your one video on your you know, mistakes in Kill or Be Killed. It was like things that you learned. That scene, we probably shot like 5 or 6 hours, and just something was still missing. And I was like, I'm sleep deprived, I can't focus, I rewrote this thing, what is going on? And we went to lunch and I pulled Chloe aside, and I'm like, Chloe, like, I don't know, like this scene's like the heart of the movie, and it's not there. And I think you agreed with me. And we just, you know, sat down, we were like, look, the movie hinges on this scene. It either sucks and the movie falls apart, or we buckle down and we do it. And we came back from lunch and we reshot like 6 hours, yeah, of material in like 30 minutes, basically. Like, we were doing all this Ronin work and everything, and we said, you know what, screw it. Like, that's holding us back. We're going handheld, we're getting into the raw motion of this, and we're gonna reshoot the thing. And to Jim and Chloe's credit and the crew, we did it, and it turned out really good. Like, we're all just so proud of it, you know. Tears were shed, you know, you're yelling, Jim's yelling, there's blood and gore effects and stuff. It was absolutely incredible to see it all come together. So it was like a moment of the most challenging thing in my entire filmmaking career, but also the thing that I'm most proud of in my filmmaking career, because I think, like always, you know, when we rise to the challenge and overcome something, it's the thing that makes us, you know, most proud.
I think a really important lesson that we learned from that too is that if there is something that needs to be adjusted, like just take a second to try and fix it, because I think for Phil too, there was an enormous amount of pressure on him to just be the leader, you know, of like a set. When you're directing, it's like everyone's like, what we doing?
Not all filmmakers that are especially just starting out realize it's okay to not have all the answers, and that you have a group of people surrounding you that are there to like bounce ideas off of you. So if something's not working, it's okay to pull those people aside and be like, you know, I need a minute, let's talk this out and try to figure out why it's not working and what we can do better.
How do you know it wasn't real?
I was with you.
Don't tell me to calm down. She's manipulating us.
You're the one running away, not me! I love you, and you learn to love me too.
Phil, can you walk us through a day in your shoes as a director of your first feature?
Oh, every day is a challenge, isn't it?
What was the quote you said?
Yeah, every day, every time I wake up, it's a challenge. My day-to-day on set was like very structured. So I would wake up, have breakfast. I guess I'll go into the nitty-gritty. I'd have breakfast, read the script for the day. I had already shot listed in pre-production, so I already had that done. But me and Joe Staley, our DP, would meet before the shoot and review the shot list that we had already done. The crew would all come to the location. Me and the AD would talk through what we were gonna do that day while everybody was kind of starting to file in. We do a quick blocking rehearsal with Tom and Eve, and then they start to light the scene. And during that time, I would have a little bit of downtime where I could work with Tom and Eve in a separate room. Chloe and Jim, sorry. See, it still sticks, even all these years later.
I do it too.
Yeah. So we would rehearse in a different room while they were lighting, or if they were good on the scene, I would start prepping, you know, whatever came next. So that I was always kind of one step ahead of things.
Or on the really like time-tight days, like I'd be getting my hair and my makeup done, and he'd be sat right in front of me, like talking to me while I had like whoever's doing my hair and my makeup, and the same with Jim.
But yeah, then we would shoot, and we tried to do 15 shots before lunch, or 15 setups, I guess, before lunch, and 15 after lunch. Lunch being 6 hours into the shoot. We were a union production. And you know, typically I think on a big budget movie, you would probably aim for about 3 pages a day, but we were a low budget movie, so we had to do more than that. So we did anywhere from 5 to 7 pages.
That's impressive.
It was a lot. And all the credit to you and Jim and, you know, the crew for hustling. What was really key to us being able to make our days was me, Chloe, and Jim rehearsed in pre-production. We had 4 or 5 rehearsal days where we would go to the office of our executive producer and block out the scenes using office furniture. And I'd film it on my phone and figure out the shots. And then on the day, they already knew what they were doing. I could show the shots to the DP. He'd be like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. And then we would just light for that, basically. So like, it's kind of cool. We have like a iPhone version of the movie, basically, with like, you know, office furniture. And
it looks the same. We have it in the behind the scenes doc Phil made, where like he'll show you with the iPhone and then he'll transfer it into the, and it's pretty like close too.
It is, yeah.
Chloe, what was the most challenging scene in the film for you to shoot?
Anything with nudity was the most challenging for me, just because I've never done that before, and it's just like a whole new thing to do, especially it's like such a personal thing, I feel. You know, it's all super professional on film, and I think it was easier too because my husband was the director, so like you're in, you know, like a safe space with someone you know. It's not like it's just a crew that you don't know, and we knew most of the crew too, which was cool. But yeah, that's always like a challenging thing the first time you decide to do that kind of role. And then also Eve is like very emotional throughout the film too, so it was a very like distressed role too, so you just have to go in your own space, get into that role, because there's some dark scenes in there for her, which is challenging, but like also fun as an actor, like to know that you can go there, you know?
You like literally put it all on the line on this film, and forever grateful for you to, for you bringing that character to life, because Chloe had to make herself vulnerable in every way imaginable. And I'm just really grateful to you and Jim for doing that. And Jim too, I mean, Jim, the things that he had to do in the film, and this was his first feature too. I'm getting emotional, I should stop here. It's just like when you talk about stuff like that, like the challenges, it's just, it was a challenge for you and Jim, and I'm glad I could be there to support you guys through it and hopefully help you. Sorry, I don't know why I'm getting emotional now.
It's all right.
It's like therapy.
I thought it was just your voice croaking. Like
no, I am getting emotional. You can use that. It's just like the thing about making my first feature is that it was a dream come true. So anytime we have an opportunity to do something like this, like it's an interview, like that's like a blessing, literally. Like before making the feature, I'd never done this before, so it's just every part of it's exciting and cool. Like I cried during the coloring of the film, like when I saw it, because I was like, oh my god, now it's a movie, there's color. When I first heard the music, I'm like, god, what's that movie with Adam Sandler? Was it him where they make him emotional, like he's crying?
Oh no, that's it's Bedazzled.
Bedazzled, yeah.
That's not Adam Sandler.
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah, Brendan Fraser in Bedazzled, yeah. Like, just the first moment I walked on set, it's just like, and I think that's what I hope I never lose as a filmmaker, is that sense of gratitude, because so few people have the opportunity to do this, because it is expensive, and you need people to support your vision and to bring your story to life, so that when you do have the opportunity to do it, you don't want to let that go, and you want to be extremely appreciative, because it's rare. This could be the only time we get to do it in our life, like I mean, we're planning to do another film, but you never know if you'll get that shot, so you gotta enjoy the ride.
And that is going to do it for today's episode. Be sure to check back on Thursday, where we continue our chat with Phil and Chloe about making the jump from short films to feature films. The Honeymoon Phase releases this Friday, August 21st on VOD, and also the Apple TV version of the film contains all of the behind-the-scenes goodies that you would get on a regular DVD. So links to the pre-order are in the description below. Also, the full 2-hour interview with Philip and Chloe is available to our Patreon supporters. So if you're interested in checking out the full interview and or want to support our channel, link is in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment below, and we'll see you on Thursday.